Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm still fighting this cold, so I'm excited that my voice is still kind of here. Gosh, it never ends. Welcome to another live Q&A session. Thank you for spending some time with me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some of the techniques and tips and tricks that I use every day in my own voiceover business. And I answer your questions in these live Q&A sessions on Tuesday. If you're not new here, then you know that every week we have a new poll. And today's poll is sort of well, I guess they all are multiple choice, aren't they? But you have some options. When you audition, do you typically click over to the options, send an audition, just send one, and then wait to hear back from the rights holder, the client, whomever? Do you send a few auditions and wait? Maybe two, maybe three, and just wait to see what is said before you do anything else? Or do you audition a few times every day? So I'm curious to see what everybody says. All right, so far we have 15 votes. 13% of you said send an audition and wait. 27% of you said send a few auditions and wait. And a good 60% of you said audition a few times every day. And I can tell you from personal experience that I understand everybody's position on this. In the beginning, I was afraid to do too much, thinking that I would be either overwhelmed, disappointed by feedback, learn from feedback, or just to kind of feel things out to see how things go with auditions. I can understand everybody's position on this, but I think when it comes to auditioning and getting work, winning jobs, it's a numbers game, just like any other sales position. The more often that you audition, the more opportunities there are going to be for you to cross paths with a client who's looking for your voice, for your delivery, for your perspective, your interpretation of the script that you auditioned with, right? So I say, don't wait. But I understand if that's your position. But my advice is don't wait. Do as many auditions as you can. Set a goal for yourself, right? Tell yourself you're going to do in the beginning. If you're still kind of dipping your toes in to see how everything goes, that's fine. But maybe make a goal of 5 auditions in a week, every week, or 10, or 5 a day. Whatever your goal is, set it and do it every day. Because even if you submitted 5 auditions in a day and you won 2 of those jobs, if that's what your fear is that you're going to have 2 jobs and then you're like, oh God, how do I, when I say jobs, I mean maybe audiobook jobs. So they're a little bit time consuming, right? And you think, oh God, how am I supposed to do 2 at the same time? You don't have to. You can schedule them appropriately. If you happen to win one job, an hour before the other, or you get an offer an hour before the other, you can tell the second rights holder, I would love to narrate this book for you. But with my current workload, I can start this one on X day. Or if you're able and they're both, smaller books, then, do them concurrently. Figure out how to schedule them both in. But don't wait thinking that you have to do one at a time, because you're just going to hold yourself back ultimately. But send those auditions in and don't wait for feedback or a yes or a no. Just keep going. Awesome. Okay. I hope my voice doesn't go out. I'm trying, guys. All right, let's go to the comments and see who's here. First in was Sarah Preston. Good morning, Sarah. Thanks for joining. And then we have Siobhan. Spring break. Yes, spring break. All the kiddos are home. I can join the live. Well, good to have you here, Siobhan. Andy B is here. Hey, Andy, how's it going? He says, I have been warned not to do my own demo and instead have it professionally produced and spend money on coaching. But you have to do something, but there is no money for pro stuff and coaching. So, and then he continues on with a little unhappy face. I have heard the same things in the beginning. And let me tell you, Andy, in the beginning, even right now, 5 years in, I've still not had a single professional demo produced. I've made all my own demos, always have. And I think it's important to do your own demos in the beginning, because as we've talked about a few times here already, that if you have a professional demo made and you, with your own skills and equipment, you can't reproduce the sound that is in that demo, that's going to be a problem for the client. Because if they hear this polished sound or, music and sound effects, and, it's great if you get coaching so you can interpret a script appropriately and then deliver the intended tone or the needed tone for the script, right? That would be helpful. But reproducing the sound is going to be the most important thing. Because if you send a client a professionally made demo that you can't reproduce on your own, then that's sending the client something that's not representative of what they're actually going to get, right? And I get that. I mean, none of us really have a whole lot of capital in the beginning to professionally produce anything. But I would say get all the coaching that you can. Coaching is never a bad idea at any stage. Once you've given this a little bit of a try and you find that this is something that you do want to pursue and that you do want to invest in yourself and get coaching, and that doesn't necessarily mean, one-on-one coaching, because I know that can be expensive, but at least if you can get into like a mastermind group or, Anthony Pica's Elite Academy is a great option. I mean, learn everything that you can. That's going to do nothing but help you. But in terms of demos, yeah, I get it. Make your own in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with that. And then Joy is here. Hello. And then she's speaking to Anthony or Andy B. There goes the voice. The people telling you not to do your own demo are the ones that want your money to produce your demo for you. Just make a few demos and test the water. You'll only fail if you don't start. Well said, Joya. Perfectly stated. And at Andy B., Joya continues, I'll give you an audiobook to read, produce, and publish with full rights holder if you want it, and we'll start your VO journey. Will you do it? Oh, throwing down the gauntlet. That's a challenge, huh? And then she continues, if you're really up for the challenge, I'll give you the audiobook RH to a 7-book series that are a bit spicy that I already published and is available on Amazon. There you go, Andy. Nice. Eric is here. Hello, Eric. Hello. You know my answer. Throw as much stuff against the wall until something sticks. Don't be afraid of having multiple offers at once. Absolutely. Don't be afraid of having multiple offers. Because it happens sometimes, right? But just schedule them appropriately. There's nothing wrong with having, work to do after the work is done. Right? Absolutely. Hat Powser's here. Good morning, Hat. Good morning. Allie Miller. Good morning, Allie. How you doing? Good to see ya. Matthew Russell is here. This weekend, I'll be recording my first dry samples. I've got about 15 to present. Too many of them or more the merrier. I have to say the more the merrier. And if they're all different tones, genres, right? I would say the more the merrier, because it's a wider net to cast, right? It's the more opportunities for people to stumble across your samples somewhere. The more you have is probably better, for sure. And you can always replace them, because we inherently get better at doing this as we go along. So you can replace them, add to them. I mean, you can have as many samples as you want. I don't think they cap you. If we're talking about like ACX, I've never been capped on samples. Grant. Hey, Grant. Good morning. Good morning, Angela and crew, here in central Ohio, where we are between third winter and false spring. It's been a weird year, maybe a weird couple of years, isn't it? I know. We're supposed to get rain again this week. Tess Stalker says, Eric, I have the exact same philosophy. I just keep chucking, just shotgunning those auditions out. And then Andy B says to Joya, thanks for your generosity. I have to think about it. I would not want to disappoint. See? Self-doubt. How would you know, Andy, unless you try? And I don't think you have to just do it. You can't be afraid you can't really have that mindset. You can't expect to fail. And I know we all do it. We all do it. We all have that expectation, or we have that mindset that we're not quite there, right? But don't set yourself up for failure. Just do the best you can. If you want to, don't do all 7. Do just 1. Or, but you can't have that mindset that you're going to just disappoint. Andy. JCCAOL says, I hope you get better soon. I know. I had this a couple of weeks ago, and then it came back this weekend. I don't know what's going on. Yeesh. Just won't go away, but thank you. I appreciate that. Me too. I've got books to do. Phil says, hey, Angela. Hey, Phil. How's it going? Jeremy is here. Hi. For beginners on ACX, what should you type in the section that asks for credits, etc.? In the very beginning, when I made my profile on ACX, I had already done a few sections of books in LibriVox, so I used those as credits. But to be honest, in the beginning, I don't know how many people actually look at bios or credits to your name. To be honest, I think what is most important to an author or to a client is how you sound and how you interpret their manuscript, right? If you can get the tone, if you are the voice that they're looking for, I think that is what is most important. So even if you have nothing to your name yet, just leave it blank and then fill it in as you go. But don't let that stop you. Just keep going. Just keep going. If you have to leave it blank, just keep going. Facebook user, this is Jim Cecil. Good morning, Jim. Yes, good day to all of you. Is it Geddes Gibbs Jr.? Am I saying that right? Get well, Angela. I'm trying. I'm overloading on vitamin C every day. Getting rest, drinking water and coffee, but I'm doing the best I can. Thank you. And then Joya says to Andy B, no demo, no auditions. If you don't want the spicy, I'll write you any genre you want with a full rights holder. Look at that. I think you two need to hook up and maybe have a discussion about some things, perhaps. Maybe Joya, if, write him a short story. Just let him do that so he can build some confidence and see that he can do it and that he won't disappoint. I think that would do wonders for Andy. Right, Andy? Test Stalker says, does anyone here use Findaway for jobs? I am on Findaway. But to tell you the truth, I've had more clients using Findaway hire me through Fiverr and Upwork than directly through Findaway. Like they hired me to narrate their audiobooks that were going to Findaway. So, but nothing directly through Findaway. Weird. But I'd like to hear anybody else's thoughts. Excuse me. Michael Forsyth is here. Good morning, Angela. Hope you're having a great day. I appreciate your channel so very much. Thank you. I appreciate you for being here and for listening to me frog on about things today. I'm glad that my channel helps. That was my sole intent and purpose for this channel, is to help. Sort of pay it forward, as it were. Phil says, multivitamins help fight cold and flus and help strengthen your immune system. I take multivitamins. I just can't get rid of it. Multivitamins, extra vitamin C, extra tea, extra rest, extra water, extra. I might even go do my little steam inhaler thing after this is done. Good. Joanna's here. Hi, Joanna. Should I wait until I have a lot of practice to audition? The more that I learn, the more I think I need to learn. Yeah, I've been there too. But I would say by doing it is also practice, right? So audition. That in itself is practice, right? And then use those auditions as samples. And then as you get better and more practiced, then you can replace those samples with the new samples, right? Just keep going, because you will continue to learn more every day. I still learn new things every day. There's always so much more to learn in something new. So just do it. Just do it. Miss World Traveler, blessings to everyone. Hi, Angela from Philly. Hi. Yes, blessings to everybody. Eric says to Joanna Cook, think of each audition as practice. See, Eric and I were on the same level. Great minds. And then Joanna says, I am at the hospital with my mother-in-law this morning. She has Alzheimer's, and I take care of her several days a week. Oh, you're an angel. Feel free to send good vibes, prayers, whatever you've got. Yes, everybody, send them Joanna's way. We're all thinking about you and your mother-in-law. Test Stalker says, Joanna, serious good vibes your way. Yes. Everybody take a minute. Send some good vibes to Joanna and her mom. Andy B says to Joya, are the rights holder? Are you the rights holder? I think is what he's asking. How do you know I am appropriate for the series? You might have more confidence in me than I have in me. I think we all have more confidence in you than you do, Phil. Phil? Why did I say Phil? Andy. Oh my goodness. See? You get a cold, your brain turns to oatmeal. I think you two need to connect and have a conversation. Maybe that's where I got Phil, because Phil was the next name down. I just saw it in my periphery. Can we just get rid of the last 30 seconds? Phil, our thoughts are with you, Joanna. Yes. Yes, they are. Gibbs. Good morning, Angela from Effort. I hope I'm saying your name right. I always butcher names. Miss World Traveler. It's Miss T. Miss T? Miss T. Okay. It's Miss T. Lorna's Adventures After 50. Good, sunny, chilly morning from Oregon. Computer died in construction in neighborhood. Now having a hard time to get back on Audition Horse. You are a great encourager. And I had just said this, I think, last week about obstacles, are lessons that we need to learn. Everything that has gone wrong in my own studio, I now know how to maybe prevent right? I can precipitate or I can fix it so it doesn't happen again. I think my opinion about every kind of obstacle that we encounter is something that we needed to learn. Something that's going to come up in the future that you will then know how to handle, maybe more appropriately or a better way, right? It's just equipping you with the knowledge to handle a situation that might come up in the future. So I see every obstacle or something that happens, a detriment of some sort, as a way to learn, of course, and to perhaps prevent worse things from happening in the future. But construction in the neighborhood. So that tells me that maybe you need to figure out if there's a better way that you can, or a better time of the day. Because construction has to stop at some time, right? They can't do it 24/7. So maybe that's the universe telling you that maybe narrating at night is a better solution for you. I don't know. Is it just oatmeal brain talking? I don't know, but that's kind of what that tells me. But yes, just get back on that horse. Grab it by the reins, put your leg over. Let's go. Facebook user, this is Jim Cecil. I'm just starting. I'm working on an excerpt from LibriVox now. I will audition daily in multiple genres when I finish with this. Good. Good for you. And then use that excerpt or that section as your title credits, right? And ACX later. Randy says, do you read the table of contents when recording an audiobook? No. But you can use the table of contents as sort of an outline of the files, like the file names, because that is how Audible is also going to break down the book, right? So you'll have an introduction, well, first the opening credits, an introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2, so on and so forth, or the prologue, the epilogue. The table of contents will tell you how to name your files, but you do not narrate the table of contents. Hunter Bird, good morning, Angela, from very rainy and storming Northern California. Yeah, I saw that storm was heading your way. And then it'll be here, I think, tonight or tomorrow. Oh, my goodness. So much rain. We actually had to open up the dam here and let some water out. It's crazy this year. Siobhan says, I made my first demo and then promptly got sick and have had laryngitis since. Relatable. It comes and goes. I'm super frustrated. My question is, do you still record when you are struggling with your voice? You really shouldn't, especially if it's an audiobook, because they need to sound the same. Now, I've heard audiobooks before where the narrator was clearly sick in a few of the chapters. And I noticed it. I don't know if it's because I'm a narrator and I can hear the difference, or if it was just blatantly obvious to everyone else. But I think if it was, then maybe the director of the book would have had to have the narrator re-record those chapters if it was that noticeable. But I guess it depends on how bad you sound. Because for me, my voice right now comes and goes. But I think if you can fight through it to get it to sound normal most of the way through, then I think it's okay. But if it's like a really high squeak or like it's really muffled or you're whispering, it's probably not, going to make a good audiobook. So I guess it just depends on how severe it is. But if it comes and goes, then have you seen a doctor about that? That might be something maybe they can help with to help expedite the healing process, perhaps. I'm not sure. But short answer, no. If you're struggling with your voice, you should just let it rest and heal up. The Vulcaneer says, hey, Angela, I direct marketing, calling media producers a viable strategy for getting clients. Yes, absolutely. Making connections with these people on LinkedIn, the casting directors, whoever's in charge of the talent at these places. Absolutely. Directly reaching out to them, but don't but don't reach out to them and say, hey, I'm a voice actor. Here's my demo. Call me. You know, I mean, if you've ever been approached by a vendor or someone trying to sell you something, what's your first usual reaction? I would just reach out first and say, "Hey, do you have any room on your roster?" Or just introduce yourself. I am, you know, I just wanted to reach out and connect with you and to see if you had any room on your roster or if you're currently looking for talent. And then if they respond, or may I send may I send you a demo? And then if they respond, then at that point, send them a demo for whatever it is, whatever is appropriate, an appropriate demo for what they're looking for, right? But yes, absolutely. Make those connections. And I know that there are some people that do not only cold calling, but email marketing, right? Both. So those old ways of making connections have not died. Social media is just another tool in our tool belt for, making connections on LinkedIn with that. I'm going to be sipping on that coffee today. Joya says to Andy B, if it's already published, you would have the rights holder for the book. If I write you a book, you would have the rights holder for the ebook, written book, and audiobook. Let's get you working. So it sounds like Joya is an author. Are you a ghostwriter, Joya, or an author? Because if you could even write him just a short story, not even like a fully complete, legit done ebook or anything like that, just a short story, and just let him narrate it and produce it and let him see and gain the confidence from knowing that he can, in fact, do it. I think that would do a lot of good for him in many ways. Michael Forsyth says, I like your question, Randy. Joanna Cook says, try throat coat tea, Angela. It helps. I know. I bought like a gigantic box of throat coat. The licorice. I just can't, like that licorice flavor. I know I have some, and I've been drinking it. I don't like it, but I'll drink it. And you're right, it does help. Hunter Bird says, sorry if has already been asked. I know what the specs requirements for audiobook submission with ACX are, but do these parameters apply to the audition submissions to ACX as well? They used to not be, but I think they do now that they have the Audio Lab software. I think they do check them. Although I don't think it's required. It's been a while since I've auditioned directly through ACX. But my thought process on this has always been to send the client an audition that's going to sound like the final product. So my auditions were always formatted to ACX standards. Because if you send them an audition that's not normalized or within the volume range for ACX, then it's going to sound a little bit different. Or if it's not mastered, EQ'd, if it doesn't, then the client might say, well, this sounds completely different from the audition you sent me. Right? So every audition I always sent was always ACX standards. That's kind of how I thought about it. But I don't think it's required. I could be wrong. Hunter Bird said, I made all my own demos. Same. I did too. Always have. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning. Good morning, all. Glad to see you. Geddes Gibbs says, are royalty shares just as profitable as per finished hour? They can be. They can be. If you are doing royalty share for a book or a series of books that take off, yeah. And it also depends on what your per finished hour rate is, right? Because keep in mind that royalty share book is going to be on there for 7 years. So that's 7 years of collecting royalties every month on a book that does well. So they can be, for sure. The Vulcaneer says, concerning demos, I don't have a pro demo made. I use the work I've done as my demo, so I'm marketing real world. Yeah, same. And in the beginning, when you don't have any work that you've already done to use as a demo, then use books off your shelf, or, use books from Project Gutenberg that are in the public domain, that are out of copyright, and use those as your demo. And then as you start to do auditions, use those auditions as samples on ACX, and then also compile them into a reel if you want to. Kirk is here. Indeed. Andy B, please ignore the shoulds. The only should is what works for you. Morning, Angela. Have you tried Sambuco? Am I saying that right? One of the moms on tour swore by it for keeping us healthy. Indeed, she did. Ah, indeed. I'm writing that down. Sambuco. What is it? And I usually don't get sick. I don't know what this is. It just will not go away. But thank you for that. I'm going to look that up and see what that is. Phil says to Joya, you wouldn't happen to have an audiobook for me too, do you? Oh, yeah. It's like bringing donuts to the office. You have to have enough for everybody, Joya. You have to share with the class. Carrie says, good morning, Angela. You're the best. Thank you. I'm wondering, in the beginning, I was at about 5-to-1 ratio of auditions to jobs on ACX. Now, after 25, I have no offers. That I lose my mojo? No, you didn't lose your mojo. I think it's just, again, it's, and a lot of people tell me the same thing. In the beginning, they had a lot of success right away. So you lucked out and crossed paths with someone who was looking for your voice in the very beginning. And then as we continue on, we're expecting the same sort of results. And it doesn't always happen that way. So I had the same experience. Like, I had an offer right away after my first, I think, like 5 to 10 auditions, and then nothing for a long time. And then I was like, man, did I lose my mojo? But no, it's just the more auditions you submit, the more chances you have to audition for a book where that rights holder is looking for your voice. It doesn't mean you lost your mojo. It just means you need to keep auditioning. Because we never know. I mean, if we could peek inside their heads and hear the voice in their head and know right away if we were going to be a match, that would be great. I mean, yeah, the authors and the rights holders will put in the audition description what they're looking for. But sometimes they may even hear a completely different voice that they hadn't even considered before that doesn't meet any of their criteria. And they go, oh, that's perfect, right? So you never know. But just keep going. I would say it has nothing to do with your mojo, Carrie. Just keep going. Miss T says, I agree. Just start. There will be great days and trying days, but push through. There is light at the end of the tunnel, like wine. It gets better with time. Yes, just like us. We get better with time, right? Marla says, what software do you use? I hope you feel better soon. Oh, thank you. Software for recording? I use Adobe Audition. Or are we talking about streaming? I use StreamYard for streaming. So I'm just guessing which one you're asking for. Allie says, Andy, go for it. Take the leap. Yes, Andy, we've been telling you for how long now? Just do it already. Stop waiting for permission from yourself or anyone else for that matter. Just do it. Matthew says, hi, Angela. How many samples did you record for the first time, and were they all dry? Yes. Well, dry in terms of no music or sound effects is what I was thinking initially, but I did use EQs and noise reducers. Again, all of my samples and auditions were always formatted to ACX standards. So in that respect, they were not dry, but they did not have music or sound effects. Samples in the beginning, I'm trying to remember, I think I put up somewhere between 3 and 5. and then I just kept adding. So I think at some point, maybe I had 15, 20, and then I would recycle them, right? I would take them down and repost them, so I'd always be at the top of the search list. And then also, as I continued to get better and the more auditions I did, I would replace some of the older ones with some of the newer ones, because we inherently get better as we go along, right? Miss T says, Andy, try. That first gig gets your feet wet. Yes, and it improves your confidence. It will bolster your confidence just getting that. But you have to get to that stage. You have to allow yourself to do it. Yes. Yes, Andy. Okay, who is this? This is Allie Miller. Come on, Andy. No guts, no glory. Yes. See, Andy? Andy comes here every week for some therapy. We're all behind you, Andy. We're all supporting you. Just do it. Michelle S. says, hi, Angela and everyone. Hi, Michelle. I am just starting to make a go of this wonderful voiceover thing. I am working on my ACX profile and hope to get up some kind of samples later this week. Good. I would say do it today if you can. Just mark it off your list of things to do. I know, but setting up those profiles does take time. I know it does. Jeremy says, great advice. Thanks. You're welcome, Jeremy. Facebook user, this is Lisa Lackey Morgan. Hi, Lisa from Facebook. Hello. I've been listening to your YouTube videos all morning. Oh, well, thank you. I hope you're finding them helpful. And I'm sorry, I've just got oatmeal brain and mush mouth today. Matthew Russell says thanks. Urinator. I hope I'm saying that right. A casting director for this voice acting project asked me to send him pictures of my feet in exchange for a role. I would say no, I would not. I don't think that's legitimate at all, Yuri. The Vulcaneer says, I don't have a pro demo made. Clients will often send you a mastered copy of work you've done for them, which you can include in your DIY demo. It's more real world, in my honest opinion. Get well soon. Thank you, the Vulcaneer. If you ask clients for a finished project, once you submit what your part is, if there's multiple people or if they're adding it to music or video, if you ask them to get a copy of the finished product to use for demo purposes, then they will send it to you. And then you can use that for your demos also. Great point, Vulcaneer. Thank you for bringing that up. Gettys. Okay, thank you. First name is pronounced like Gettys, like the city Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you for that. I didn't want to continue to keep butchering your name. Miss T says, hi, Angela. I have used Audacity. May I ask you, the DAW that you use, was it difficult to master? I use Adobe Audition as my DAW. I started with Audacity. I used Audacity for about a month or two, couple months. And then I had my partner had the Adobe suite for work and said, why don't you try Audition? So I did. And I tell you, it's like, I felt like in retrospect, I was looking at my work through a straw, like the whole world just sort of opened up using Adobe Audition. And I'm sure it's the same with Reaper or some of the other ones, but Adobe to me just made more sense. It was more intuitive. It was easier to understand. There was more that I could do with it than I could in Audacity. And I know Audacity is free and it works for a lot of people. So if it works for you, then great, use it. But I have to say my personal experience was that Adobe Audition just sort of, widened my opportunities and my ability to do anything I needed to my voiceover files and my audiobooks. Not only that, but seeing like the spectral view. So I could see mouth clicks. I could see where the breaths were. I could see I could see the noise floor. I mean, it wasn't really difficult to master per se. I'm still learning new things about it all the time, but I think it was probably a good year of a learning curve, right? To learn and fully understand everything that I needed to. But I think that's would probably pretty much be the same for any DAW, right? I hope that makes sense. Cami says, "Good morning. What's the difference between dry samples and a demo?" I think it depends on who you ask. I think when you're talking to like audio engineers or people who make demos, like professional demos for you, they will polish up the sound. They'll add music and sound effects, and it'll sound amazing. But dry samples are, I think, most often referred to as without any kind of polish. I mean, yeah, they'll have a little EQ and a little noise reduction, but no like dramatic sound effects and music, right? Unless you have a client that asks you for a sample that's completely dry, meaning like no effects, no compression, no noise reduction, just completely raw, then I think it depends on who you're talking to and what the situation is. But I think that's mainly the difference. Also in samples, that could be just a piece of a singular book or a singular tone, a singular type of voiceover. And then a demo is more like a demo reel, having like a little bit of variation, like a compilation of a range of tones. For example, you could have a sample for a self-help book, and then you can have a demo that's got self-help, drama, romance. It's got a little bit of everything in it. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit of how I've always used those terms, if that makes sense. Leslie says, "Good morning. What works for me is hot water, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, 2 tablespoons honey or pure maple syrup, and 1/8 of ground cayenne pepper seems to break up the stuff." I tried something similar. What was it? I think I think maybe in addition to these ingredients, there was also apple cider vinegar in there as well. But yeah, I think I have all of these things. So I'm definitely gonna go make me a little concoction after this is done. But I sort of like woke up this morning and went, "Oh no, there goes my voice again." And I had to get ready for the live. So I mean, it's early for me, so I haven't really gotten anything done today. So after this is over, I'm gonna go do that and see if that helps. My gosh. But thank you for that, Leslie. Siobhan says, "Oh, how do you like that steam inhaler?" I like it. I like it because I've always had like, I had COVID like way back, right when it first started a few years ago now. And um, ever since then, I've had like sinus issues. So the steam inhaler sort of moisturizes, it just feels good. I like it. Veritas is here. Morning. Hey, Angela, just wondering if there's a fiction and nonfiction title that you've done on Audible that we can listen to. Oh, gosh. All you really have to do is search my name on Audible and then you'll see a bunch. But I think one of the more recent ones that I've done that I really, really liked, I have a couple in production now that I really like too, but they're not available to listen to yet. But the one that is on there that I like was She Was Only 32. Was a good one. And I've got a handful on there that you could probably listen to if you want to. But I hate thinking that people are listening to me. I'm just too much of an introvert to do that. Phil says, maybe thyme leaves. I hear it's good for bronchitis and helps clear out your lungs and stuffy nose. Like making like a steam with thyme? Interesting. I'll have to try that. Miss T, little prayers, thank you. Leslie says, an 1/8 teaspoon, not tablespoon of cayenne. Oh, yeah, I think I knew what you meant. I wouldn't want to put that much cayenne in there. That would be a lot. That would be a lot. That would definitely clear you out. Phil says, LOL. I know, because I got Phil on the brain. Oh, hey, guys. On March 25th, I think I mentioned this last week, but March 25th is when I have my webinar with Anthony Pica from Zero to Audiobook Hero. Tickets are available now. I actually put the link down in the description so you can check out the tickets and get some tickets and come and see us. It is on a Saturday. The 25th is a Saturday. I'll have to double check the times now that the time has changed, but I think it's like noon to 2, Eastern Standard Time. But just check the time for your area. But the link is down below in the description. Check it out. Love to see all you guys there. Hopefully this is gone by then. I'm hoping it will be. That's still a ways away. Miss World Traveler says, T. Yes, call me T. Okay, T. You got it, T. Michael Forsyth is praying for you and your family, Joanna. Yes, Joanna, we're hoping for the best for you. Joya says, at Andy B and Phil, I'm a published author with 48 books. Wow, look at you. Both self-published and publishing house. I have the rights and legal know-how to give the book RH to another. Just email me to get going. Look at you. Good for you. That's awesome. Miss T says, oh my God, right. There are obstacles every day, but yes, Angela, RMS YouTube tutorial helped fix some issues I had last night. Good. Thank you, Angela. Is there a way to prevent this up front? To prevent RMS issues? I think your RMS is basically a fancy way of saying your average dialogue volume, right? So if you can add a little bit of compression, even perhaps to your effects chain, because compression will level out your peaks and your lows. Because if you look at your waveform, you'll see you have some really high peaks sometimes and some really low lows. Compression will help sort of level those out so they're a little bit more even. So in turn, will help your average volume to be more consistent and to help you fall within that range that you need for ACX. So play with the compression, add a little bit of compression, and that might help. Lorna's Adventures After 50 says, agree. Made more treatments for dealing with the construction and timing too. Also diversified my energy. I feel a sneeze coming on. God. To have some other options not dependent on voice. Tutoring EOL online. What is EOL? English as another language? As a other language? What is EOL? Auditions next. Trying not to sneeze. Oh, guys. Hat Powser says, entertainer's secret will get you part or all the way there. What is that? Are we talking about cold? Entertainer's secret. What is it? Is it a magic pill? Is it a magic wand? What is it? I need it. Saquib. I hope I'm saying that right. Hi, Angela. I am inspired by you. Well, good. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that what I'm saying is A, making sense, and B, helpful. Siobhan says, yes, I've been to the doctor twice, had steroids, oh God, antibiotics. Regular allergies have exacerbated the situation. I think that might be part of my problem too. I'm dealing with a little bit of allergy and cold, perhaps. I don't know. Whatever it is, I just want it to go away. I guess I'll just keep on plucking along and hope for the best. That's all you can do, right? This is our moneymaker. You got to take care of it. Give it rest when you need to. Most of the time, clients are understanding. We're all human. We all go through this sometimes twice in a month. But it happens, right? I'll be thinking of you, crossing my fingers for you. Hat says, I saw somebody in that ACX group say their book narration gigs aren't coming from ACX. They're coming from contacting publishing houses directly. Yeah, that's another way of getting audiobook work, to go to Audible. I have had people, I've worked with people on Fiverr, Upwork, on other platforms that hire me there and then upload the files to ACX themselves, right? So ACX is not the only place to find audiobook work. You can find audiobook work on many different platforms, or reaching out to publishing houses directly and asking if to be put on their roster, right? Absolutely. Lisa Morgan says, I've been listening to you while at work for weeks. I need to just do it. Yes. I'm a former elementary teacher who now does training in the business world. I'd love to be able to do full VO full time. Same, sister. I mean, not the school teacher thing, but I had the dream to do this full time, and I did it 3 years ago this month. So I'm just do it. Just do it. Yes. Phil says at Joya, I'm interested. I'm currently on ACX, but if you want me to narrate your books on another platform, I can do that. And if you need a sample of my voice, let me know. Yes. Yes. Siobhan says, I mix throat coat with first, but helps. Trichinaceae. Oh. I have a great sampling of tea. Maybe I should do that. Mix like half throat coat and half maybe matcha. I have some matcha. I have some, what are those little butterfly pea flowers that you can make like the blue tea with? I have those. I'm kind of a tea nerd. Surprise, surprise, right? Jean Carlson says, hello from Washington State. I am producing my first book and now dealing with excessive dryness. So many mouth clicks to deal with. Know any remedies to help? I drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day already. You know, same. I've had the same issues with a sticky mouth. And what I have found that has ultimately been a lifesaver was the Isotope plugin mouth declick. And you can find that plugin in the standard and advanced bundles of plugins from Isotope. izotope.com. That, not the declick, the mouth declick plugin is what you want. And it's worth its weight in gold, and has cut my editing time by like 80% and just reducing the mouth clicks. Yes. Siobhan says, what is LibriVox? Did I spell that right? Yes, you did. LibriVox.org, and that is the correct spelling, is a place where you can volunteer to narrate books in the public domain, either books in their entirety or a section of a book or a chapter, right? Or a section of poetry and the good thing, the best thing, I think, for me anyway, with working with LibriVox, is that the formatting requirements are very similar, if not the same, to those required for ACX. So in doing that, you not only gain the confidence in knowing that you can narrate a book or discover if you like it or not, but you also learn that you can do the technical part of it as well. You can format the files appropriately. And having that knowledge, and then in turn confidence and knowing that you can do that, will allow you to move forward into ACX and then producing audiobooks for money, right? That is what I did. Audiolab software. Brandy asks, Audiolab software. Yeah, ACX a few years ago introduced Audiolab. So you can upload your files into Audiolab through ACX. I think it's a tab on ACX. And you can see if your files will meet their requirements. And they will tell you if there's anything that you need to fix on that file. Like if your noise floor is too high or too low, if your RMS is within range. So yeah, the Audiolab software is a great way to check and see if you're getting your technical part of your file formatting right. Lamar, hey Lamar, I just saw you last night. Peace, good morning. Try rootology. Just came to mind. Going back to lurking. Are you often lurking? You just don't participate? Okay, rootology. Rootology. Fabulous. Thank you, Lamar. Kirk says, I think it's a black elderberry, natural, not a drug, elixir. Over the counter at any pharmacy and tasty too. Oh. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Okay. It's a tea, isn't it? Hat says, ooh, sparkly nails today. Yeah, it's called Diamond, since my birthday's coming up next month, and Diamond is, April's birthstone. I got a little ahead of myself. Thank you. Veritas says, Angela, do you have a condenser microphone? How do you think you sound on one versus your Sennheiser? Oh my God, oatmeal brain. I think it's, oh my God, I can't remember. Is my Sennheiser it is a condenser mic, I believe, or a dynamic. Oh my gosh, oatmeal brain. I have tested another microphone. Before this one, I had a Rode NT1A, and that for sure is a condenser. I think this is a hyper. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'm blanking. But I did do a video where I had a Lewitt 440 also, and that's also a condenser mic. But this one in particular, I'm blanking on what this is. I know it's a shotgun, but oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. But I think your voice is going to sound different on different microphones. We all will, because they're all sort of configured and built differently, right? But I think the Sennheiser really works for deeper voices, I have found, which mine naturally is. I mean, it's deeper today than it normally is because I'm not feeling well. But for the most part, my Sennheiser has been fantastic for my vocal range, right? So with the Lewitt that I just did the video on where I compared the two, the Lewitt was very bright and crisp and a little bit, not quite muddy, but a little bit noisy, I think, because it picked up a whole lot more. The Sennheiser is very forgiving. Let me just say that. And I really love my Sennheiser, and I've had it for 4 years now, I think. Phil says, I've auditioned 19 times, I think. Only got one offer, but turned to be a scam. Had to contact ACX support to cancel the contract. Yeah, and that happens. But don't let any of that, don't let what other people are doing dissuade you from going out and doing this, from trying your hand at it, from chasing what you want to do. Don't let those other people change your mind about this. Just keep going, because it will happen. It will happen. You just have to keep going. Marla says software for recording your voice. Oh, yeah. I use Adobe Audition for my voiceovers and audiobooks. My voice is going. Siobhan says, I wish I could watch these lives every week. It makes me feel so motivated. Oh, good. I just feel like I'm mush mouthing through this entire session. So I apologize, guys. But I'm glad it helps. I'm so ready to be done teaching so I can get busy doing the things I want. Summer can't come fast enough. Yes. And we're only a couple months away from summer, kind of, right? From school being over. I think it's May. It's over in May. Leslie says, I'm going to VO Atlanta and wondered if you have any tips for first timer, business cards or QR cards. Ooh, that's a good question. I see the value in both, but honestly, I don't know. Because I think with COVID, everything has changed in terms of what people want to touch or carry around with them. Although some people have gone back to business cards, me personally, I would take. My sister has an Etsy store where she makes these keychains that have your QR code on it that goes directly to your website, right? So I think I would have something like that. I don't think I would hand out business cards. I think I would just have a QR code that goes directly to your website, is probably what I would do. But I would say, in terms of going to your first convention or event like this, take lots of notes, meet everybody that you can. Making connections is important in this business, and not just with people you admire or casting directors and things like that, but with other narrators, with other voice actors. Learn from them. I might have to end pretty soon, guys. I'm losing it. Hat says, I'm sorry, Phil. I did maybe 5 auditions, got nada, even with a very complimentary email from one RH, and have taken a step back to reevaluate and clean up my sinuses post nasal drip with diet. I should probably do that too. I always have issues with my sinuses. But keep going. Just keep going. Hat says, no dairy, folks. Oh, I don't know if I could do that, but I might have to. Phil says at Hat, sorry to hear that. Get well soon, man. I know what it feels like to not get the gig. We all do. There's been a lot of gigs I haven't got either. It's just part of the process. It's nature of the beast. But just keep going. Mary's here. Hi, Mary. Happy Tuesday. I'm at 58 auditions and 7 offers. So I keep going. Good. Good. Veritas says, is there any content you won't narrate? I can't imagine your nice and polite voice doing swear words and explicit content. I'm laughing because I don't think there's any content I haven't narrated. I have done, yes, swear words and explicit content. I think we all do at some point. But if you're in the position where you're offered a book that has content that maybe you're not comfortable putting your name on, you can always use a pseudonym. You can use a pseudonym. But yes, I have. JCC AOL says, I think for anyone who has cold feet, it's normal, but if you don't take the plunge at some point, you will regret it. Can you live with that? Don't think about the outcome at this point. Yeah, you make 0 shots that you don't take, right? 0% or 100% of the shots you don't take. You don't get, you know what I mean? You've all heard that quote. Oh my God. Yes. Just do it. JCCAOL then says, I identify myself as an existentialist. So that's the approach I take when it comes to voiceover. Miss T says, I am afraid to use Adobe mid-project. Oh yeah, I wouldn't switch mid-project. Do you recommend learning it fully first? I would say finish the project that you're on with whatever DAW you have and learn Adobe Audition if you want to. Most of the DAWs have a free trial period. So you could get it during your trial, learn it, see if you like it. But I think it's a personal preference, right? What you're most comfortable using, because this is what you're going to be using every hour, every day for years, potentially, right? So make sure that you're comfortable and you understand it. But yeah, learn what you can. And you're just going to learn a lot as you go along too. Facebook user, this is Melissa Fawcett. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Angela. I've heard different opinions on whether or not to quote your per finished hour rate when submitting ACX auditions. Some suggest waiting to discuss if the RH reaches out to you. They obviously like your voice, your thoughts. Thanks for everything. I don't talk about money until after I hear back from the rights holder. I send my audition and with a note that says, this is my interpretation of the script that was provided. I'm very open to feedback and to changing the tone, pace, character voice, whatever. I look forward to hearing back from you. I would love to do this project with you. Write a nice note to the rights holder along with your audition, but don't discuss money until they reach back out to you, right? And once they do reach back out to you, then you say, okay, this is my rate. I take 50% up front and I can get started on X day, because something could change. Because as you do know, some rights holders will respond to you right away. Some take a couple of months to get through all the auditions, right? Your rate or your workload, something could change during the time you sent the audition to the time where you're actually contacted for the job. So I don't discuss anything about time frame or money until they reach back out to me. So that way it's correct. It's an actual offer that makes sense for both of us at the time. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm losing grip on reality right now. Hat Pauser says, so how are you handling breaths again? Does one of the things in your RX stack take care of them? I bought RX 10 because it was half off, but I still haven't determined if it works with Audacity. I'm not sure if it does work with Audacity. I want to say somebody I know got it to work with Audacity, but I don't know for sure. But in terms of breaths, I only cut out the big ones. I don't put any processing on my breaths. I don't reduce them. I don't do anything to them. Your breaths are breaths because we're human. You need to breathe. I say leave the breaths in. If you're taking like a big breath after a long paragraph or, a really big sentence, take that out. If it's like a, like a big breath, cut that out, but leave the natural breaths in there. I think that's completely normal. And I think it makes the storytelling nicer too. I think it helps. But I don't reduce them. I don't put any processing on them. Zinc. Oh yeah. Zinc. There's zinc in my multivitamins. I think I take extra zinc and extra vitamin C right now. But thank you, Pamela. I got a lot of great suggestions today. Thank you, guys. Sarah, hearts. Siobhan says, what is your name on Audible? Oh, God. Angela Olfast. Don't go listen to my books. It makes me self-conscious. Miss T says, is it difficult? Is it difficult to create EQs for your voice? No. I think once you choose a DAW and maybe go find a video on YouTube pertaining to how to EQ your voice on that DAW, once you have an understanding of how the EQ works, and then you kind of play with it a little bit until you find a setting you like, it might take a little bit of time and a little bit of know-how, but it's definitely worth it. Or if you have a little bit of capital to spend, you can always hire an audio engineer to do it for you, to make you like a preset that works for your space and your voice that you can just apply, to everything going forward. So I wouldn't say it difficult per se, but maybe time consuming. But once you get it and you save it, then you have it, then that work is done. You can just use it on everything going forward. Leslie says, is there a recommended RMS for a documentary VO, or could ACX requirements be okay? I only use ACX requirements for audiobook work. I don't use the same requirements for anything else. I apply a EQ, maybe a slight noise reduction to reduce any ambient noise in the room, very, very little. And then I normalize to -3 dB, but I don't, normal voiceovers aren't formatted for ACX. I only use that for audiobooks. I know, as I sit here live on YouTube. Oh, I know. I'm such an introvert, Hat. I am. Facebook user, let's see. This is Melissa Fawcett. Hey, Angela, after watching all your videos and joining your platinum group about a year ago, I started and landed a couple of audiobooks. I then got sucked back into my other career as a teacher. I have missed recording, and I am working on a new book with another book on deck. Good for you. I'm on spring break and came across your live stream. Miss your Thursday night group and hope to be back soon. You're the best. I hope you're back soon too. And that's great. I'm happy for you. Nice. Catherine says, I have jumped into ACX. I'm lucky in that my dad has a book I get to narrate for him. There you go. My first and audition. If I wait, I'll get depressed. Thank you for your encouragement. Cheers. Good for you. Yes, just keep going. Audition. Phil says, time leaves can be made as tea. You can breathe in the steam while the tea is hot, and drinking it clears out your lungs and hydrates you. Taste is a bit meh, but it works. Oh, and lozenges at night. Excuse me. I actually have lozenges, but I think today I'm just going to, after this is over, I'm going to steam, tea, and rest. I think it's going to be the best thing for me. Joya says, Andy B and Phil, I am on Gmail under this name. Email me and you can get started in VO. There you go, Andy. Balls in your court, Andy. Miss T says, thanks. I will try compression. Yeah. Jolene says, more sickness tips. I'll take them. This is going to sound weird, but I like to make a hot tea with honey, minced garlic, and cinnamon. If you have a respiratory issue, simmer some star anise in broth and drink it. I don't have star anise, but I think I have honey. I've actually, has anybody eaten a whole clove of like raw garlic before? I've done that a few times, and man, that's hard to do, but you know what? It really does work. But tea with honey, minced garlic, and cinnamon. Yeah, I can see the value in that for sure. Probably doesn't taste very nice, but if it works, right? Miss T says, and thank you for being here with us while you were sick. Thank you for that. I thought about it this morning because I missed the live 2 weeks ago for the exact same thing, although I had no voice at all that Tuesday. I was like, man, I don't want to do that again to them. So thank you for understanding, guys. Hat says, entertainer's secret is that throat spray. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to go check that out. I'm going to get some of that. VO teacher Drew Scott recommended it to us years ago, and it can take you from a whisper to speaking with a squirt. Gig saver. Putting that in my Amazon cart today. Thank you for that. Lorna's Adventures After 50 says, EOL, yes, English as another language. Old school certified through Literacy Council, volunteered for years with them. Also, TSOL certification, working on my mastering and editing skills for daytime hours. Yeah, if you have experience in English as another language, there's been a lot of gigs or projects that I've worked on where it was just that. Me as the teacher teaching English as another language. So there's definitely a niche for you there if you already know how to do that. It's awesome. Slippery elm. I know. Isn't what slippery elm is the element in throat coat tea that makes it taste like licorice, right? Like black licorice. Or is it star anise? Yeah, slippery elm is great for your throat. Getty says, do you create more samples on ACX to have people notice you and receive more audiobook offers? Yes. The more samples, the better. But also keep in mind that the auditions that you do, use those as samples too. Get more mileage out of what you've already done and use those as samples. And then just keep posting more and more and more, or replacing your older ones, or do both at the same time. But yeah, because you'll have some rights holders that will ask for auditions, and they will also go into the samples and see if they can proactively find somebody on their own. So having presence in both places is definitely going to help you be found, if that makes sense. Lamar, sometimes. Face turquoise covering eyes, very welcome always. It must be like an emoji thing because it doesn't come through. Thank you, Lamar. Hat says, when's your birthday? Are you a Taurus like me? Aries. I'm an Aries. April. Mark Flores says, got here late. Gonna need to listen back to see what I missed, but what's a good amount of proposals, auditions, outreach to do daily for Upwork, ACX, and direct marketing to get good, consistent results? I think that's a hard number to just lay out. I think it's going to be different for everybody depending on your schedule, your workload, your other commitments in a day. But I would say whatever works for you. I know it's vague, but whatever works for you, but at least maybe 5 in a day, 5 to 10 in a day. If 10 or 20 or even 50 in a month works for you, whatever that number is. But direct marketing is probably going to take more than your auditions, because as an old like general sales rule of thumb, you get usually a 10% return on investment, and that's considered to be good. It may be a little bit more, it may be a little bit less, but roughly around 10% is a good return on investment. So if you send out 100, then you'll get 10, roughly, right? Or is it yeah. There's not supposed to be any math, okay? You guys know what I'm saying. All right. So the more the better, obviously. So it's a numbers game, just like anything else. The more you do, the more opportunities for return. Okay. I have to go soon, guys, but there's so many more comments. I feel bad leaving comments unanswered. Reason says, hey, Angela, FYI, for some, Isotope also has great features to remove reverb and even better noise remover than Adobe Audition, in my opinion. Isotope is a fabulous suite of plugins. And the suite of plugins not only comes the standard and the advanced, not only come with mouth declick, but also come with a de-reverb, a de-click, a de-hum, and other deplosive, other things in there that are definitely going to be useful for a lot of people too. But the mouth declick is everything, right? That is the plugin that I absolutely love it for. This is Melissa. Is there somewhere I could go brick and mortar to try out different microphones? I have gone to the Guitar Center. I don't know where you are, if you have one in your area. Sometimes I've even seen Best Buy, like places like Best Buy that have microphones out. But if you can go to like an instrument store, most of those will usually have things you can try out. That's what I would say to do. Apart from that, buying something, bringing it home, trying it, and then sending it back. Sweetwater is usually pretty good about that kind of stuff. But if you want to try something like that, going to a brick and mortar and trying it, like your local music store, call around and see if they will offer, or if they have display microphones that you can try. I had a Guitar Center in here in Arizona. Joya says at Andy B, I believe in you. Come on, let's get together and get you narrating. Lighten that fire, Andy. Randy says, I've been approved to narrate a chapter for LibriVox. Yay! Good for you. Thank you for your knowledge and encouragement. Absolutely. Mason Reconstruction says, 5 auditions is nothing. Do 25, just for fun and the experience. Expecting to receive nothing. For the moment, you are an intern, an apprentice. Yes, have some grace. Give yourself some grace. You're just starting out in something. You're kind of learning how things go. But don't just stop at 1. Don't just stop at 5. Just keep going until you get an offer. And then don't stop there either. Prepare for your next one. And if you have 2 offers, 3 offers, 5 offers, then hey, then you have the luxury of scheduling them appropriately, right? Just keep going. Even if you get an offer, don't stop auditioning. Just keep auditioning, because you're going to want to have something right after that one to do, right? M. Renee Coates says, do you have a fiction versus nonfiction preference? I actually do. I prefer nonfiction. Just because I'm I'm a big nerd and I love learning stuff. I love telling people's stories. I love all the books that I get about, empowerment and encouragement. And, I've done books that were about life after death and, like NDEs and backyard homesteading, stuff like that. I love that stuff. So I think I'd actually prefer nonfiction. No, is that weird? Janeri says, "Hi, Angela, I'm here." Hi, Janeri. Now we can continue on. Janeri's here. Thank goodness you're here. Andy B says, "I own an Electro Voice RE320, but I am convinced I should probably consider one of the following." No, your Electro Voice is just fine for voiceover. Don't tell yourself that you need something else. Just start right now, Andy. No. Use what you have and just keep moving forward. Don't hold yourself back because of this, or that. Just do it. The Sennheiser MK4, Electro Voice RE20, the Neumann TL102 is a bit pricey, yes, but Neumanns are fabulous and worth their money. The Lewitt 440 Pure or the Shure, I would say any of those would be good microphones to get. The only one of those that I've actually owned myself, of course, is the Lewitt 440, but just use what you have, Andy, and get going. You can always upgrade later. Joya says, "See you Thursday with a working mic this time. LOL. Feel better, Miss Angela." Thank you so much. I appreciate you. The Ladies Garden and Home. "Hi, Angela. I'm not intimidated by the auditioning process. I grew up a theater geek. What is intimidating is the technical stuff and learning the language of audio." And it was for me too. When I first started, it was like looking at, a completely different language. Like everything was just in German or Japanese or something. I didn't understand it. But you do learn as you go along. So don't let anything that you don't know intimidate you. Just know that you will learn it as you delve in, as you dip yourself, as you dive in, as you immerse yourself into it. You will inherently learn more and you'll learn the lingo as you go. But you can't do any of that learning until you actually move forward, right? So just get in there and get going. Get started. Getty says, "How long does authors reach back to you after submitting an audition to an audiobook?" That I have found varies greatly. I've had some authors get back to me the same day. I've had some authors get back to me within a week, couple weeks, a couple months, 6 months. It's hard to say. I mean, because they're people too. It also depends on their timeline. If they're waiting for X amount of auditions before they start making a short list and start choosing, maybe they go on vacation. I mean, who knows? There really isn't a typical timeline for a return email, with a decision to be made. There's lots of variables there. Phil says, "At Joya, are you on ACX? If not, I'll contact you by your email." Ralph, hey Ralph, "Adobe Audition allows you 7 days to try it out. I would prefer 30 days as 7 is not enough. I don't have RX10, but RX9 works with Audacity." Oh, there you go. Okay. So we know that the Isotope plugins, Ralph has said they do work with Audacity. And RX10 is just a more current version. So I would assume that maybe RX10 works as well. I would imagine if RX9 does, RX10 probably does as well. But you're right. Adobe Audition offers you a 7-day trial. I think most of them are between 7 and 14 days to try out a new piece of software. But I guess if you have the time to commit to checking it out and learning it, 7 days could be enough to make a decision. I knew by using it for just a day or two that I was switching. So Joya says to Phil, "Email me it'll get to me faster." There you go. There you go. Phil says, "What's your email?" I think, did she say it again? Phil, it's this name at Gmail. All right. VoiceOver Van Deen, you brought the frog with you this time. He's here to stay. Afternoon, early start. No need to ask where the frog is. Vicks, Sinex, or Tiger Balm. Oh, I forgot about Tiger Balm. Licorice and menthol nippets, and drinking hot water with cider vinegar and honey helps me. Peace for you. Oh, or crossing your fingers for you, not peace for you. Stick a fork in me. Thank you, voiceover Van Deen. I forgot about Tiger Balm. Menthol nippets. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go make myself a concoction. Kirk says, hey, 46 watching, but at this moment, only 9 likes. Help Angela's algorithm. Punch that like. Yeah, punch that like we do fear in the face. Smash that like button. I'm such a YouTuber now. Smash that like button. Oh, I'm getting goofy. Guys. Okay, Phil says thanks. Andy B says, Angela, looks like you've done over 100 books. Yes, I have. Mary says, oh, the shower steamers are wonderful. Also, a venti medicine ball with lemonade. It'll change you. I've heard someone else had mentioned a medicine ball too once before. I don't know. I'll have to go try it, I guess. I don't want to leave the house, though. I just want to kind of curl up into a little ball and sleep for the rest of the day. Siobhan says garlic is a natural antibiotic. It will help with any bacteria floating around. Yes, it's hard to eat a clove of raw garlic, but I have done it a couple times, and it does help. Jolene says, I love garlic. Yes, but a raw clove is difficult. It does help, though. Joy says, hi, Angela. Kudos for doing this. Chamomile tea. Oh, yes, chamomile. That's another good one. Yes. Tess says, I have yet to record a book. I've done e-learning and narration that I love. I hope to enjoy this. If you love e-learning and other types of long-form narration, you will enjoy audiobooks just as much, if not more. Because some audiobooks, you get to become the characters and totally, live in their shoes, for the book. So it sounds like, if I had to guess, I would say that you would probably love audiobooks just as much as e-learning and other long-form narration. Allie says, it's the anise. Tasted like black licorice. The star anise. Yeah. I think I had it in my mind that slippery elm bark tasted like licorice too. Maybe it was the star anise. Tess says, I need to throw more stuff, but at books. Yeah. Just keep auditioning. Don't just say, okay, here's 5 and I'm done. Keep going. Don't ever wait on someone to get back to you. Just keep going. Oh my gosh, you guys, the comments keep coming in. I feel guilty leaving all the comments here, but I have to go, guys. I'm losing it. Kirk says, if you haven't stopped the live by the time you get to this post, stop. Take care of your voice. We love you. Thank you, Kirk. But I feel guilty leaving questions unanswered. Joy says, I have enunciated words in Spanish. I can speak it enough to hold a simple conversation, but I do forget the meaning of some words. Yeah. I took a few years of Spanish. I can understand it, I think, better than I can speak it at this point. But you can always look up the meaning of the words with like Google Translate, which I think is important to understand what you're saying so you can give it the proper feel, proper tone, right? Cami says, could sample scripts from websites be used to make demos, or would that be copyright issue? Depending on what website you're talking about, because some of these websites, if we're talking about, just to throw out a couple names like Edge Studio or voices.com or Voice123, I think one of the two, whenever you're going on a website that has sample scripts on it, read the fine print on those websites, because some of them will tell you that they prefer that you do not use their scripts for your demos. Practice only. So wherever you're getting those, just make sure you understand if you're allowed to use them for your demos or not. Andy B says, done. I'm assuming that's to Joya. Miss Renee Coates says, Angela, for someone brand new, where would you recommend that they market themselves best? Fiverr. Social media is where you should market yourself best. It's free. It only takes a little bit of time. But as far as all of the freelance marketplaces, Sign up on a couple of them to start, just to get a feel of how they work and how much how much of a time investment they take. But social media is free. Market yourself on social media, make some connections, and let the algorithm work for you. But I'd say social media is probably a great place to market yourself. Lorna's Adventures After 50 says, great to hear VO work for ESL, EOL teachers. You're getting great tips. Add electrolytes for hydration and healthy fats for dry mouth, fatty acids, minerals needed for saliva well-being. Well, lots of great information today. Lots of great tips. Love it. Renee says, would you use a cardioid USB mic or a super cardioid mic? If you had to start out very low budget, you could get away with a USB mic, but at some point you're going to want to have an XLR mic, which also requires that you have an interface in conjunction to be able to use the XLR mic, because a USB mic is just plug and play. It plugs directly into your computer, but an XLR mic is going to need an interface to convert the language of the microphone to something your computer can understand, and then in turn put it into your DAW to be recorded, edited, formatted. Janeri says, hi, Angela. So it's okay to do my auditions as samples for ACX? Yes. It won't host. No. If the rights holders have an issue with you using the auditions as samples, then ACX will take them down. Or the rights holder might even reach out to you directly and say, hey, I'd rather you didn't. But use your auditions as samples for sure. Leslie says, thank you, get well soon. Thank you. I hope I do too. I'm over this. So over it. The Ladies Garden and Home says, thank you. I hope you feel better. Ginger, lemon, and honey are my go-tos. Yep, I forgot about ginger. Ginger's another good one. Getty says, gotta go, Angela. Gotta continue my auditions on ACX, which wish me luck. Good luck. Go for it. St. Louis Studio says, I just want to say this is awesome. This is the first time I've watched your channel live, and I'm sorry that you had to hear me as a frog, but I really love it and I'm learning a lot. But I have a question. What is some good starter equipment? I have a lot of great equipment recommendations on my website. If you go to voiceoverangela.com, I have a whole page of recommended gear. And because everybody's situation budget is different, I've got a few options on there for you. Sorry, I'm trying to get through these quickly because I need to go. Sean Stoddard says, just saw some of your ACX videos. Yeah, I have a few. I have a handful of ACX videos that are specific to ACX. Matthew Russell says, what type of dynamic mic do you prefer? I don't know if I have a preference. If I can, I clicked a little bit too over. I don't think this is dynamic. I'm just totally blanking on the type of mic this is, apart from being a shotgun mic. But if this is dynamic, then I prefer my Sennheiser. But if it's not, then I'm not sure. I know I've used, all of my other mics have been condenser mics. Or is it cardioid? My brain is just oatmeal, guys. Sean says, great info. Good. St. Louis. Ginger is my favorite tea. I don't think I've ever had ginger tea. Well, that's interesting. I might have to try that. Joy says, thanks, Angela. Get some rest. I know. I'm going to do that right after. I think I have another meeting today, but Esteban says, I usually send in auditions and give myself a nervous breakdown until I get a call. Don't do that. Just keep going. Just keep auditioning. Don't wait. Yeah. LOL, Esteban. Yes, don't wait. Just keep going. Joya says, and Andy B's doing it. Yes. Good job, Andy. Good job, Andy. Cami says, thank you, Angela. Feel better. Do you have any suggestions where to get scripts to record a demo? You can use the verbiage that you find on the scripts that you see online or commercials that you hear and change the wording. Use the verbiage, like the feel and the tones, like get an idea of how those are written. Like, how do they make you feel? And use some of the same verbiage in your own scripts, right? to make a demo. If you're in my platinum group, I have scripts that you are able to use for your demos, but for most other sites I've seen, they don't want you to use them for demos, so you might have to take the tone and feel and reword them. I don't know if I'm making much sense right now. The Vulcaneer says, a neti pot is great for cleaning the sinuses. It should be part of every VO's health regimen. Yes, agreed. Neti pots are fabulous. But for me, it's like, well, I guess it could be sinus. It's in the back of my throat. St. Louis says, we'll go to your site right away. Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, there's just so much, so much to talk about there. But I have a lot of great suggestions on my website for you, depending on, your budget and, stop the tangent. John says, hope you feel better soon, Angela. I just signed up for your webinar with VO's Journey. So excited. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Again, I have a webinar coming up on March 25th with my friend and former coach, Anthony Pica. It's called Zero to Audiobook Hero. We talk about audiobooks, but that webinar is coming up in a couple weeks. And the link to get your tickets are down below in the description. So check that out. Be happy to see you, John. And then this is our final comment of the day. Esteban says, do you do the nasal exercises to clear the congestion? Oh, the thumb and forefinger. Yeah. I knew about it, but I completely didn't think about it. So I'll probably have to do that after this is over. So I think on that note, you guys, thank you for putting up with me today and the frog and the oatmeal brain. But just know that if you're auditioning and you're not hearing back right away, I'd say, stop waiting to hear back and just keep going. Keep auditioning, but just know that if you don't hear back, it's probably not you or something that you did or didn't do. You just weren't the right voice. You weren't the voice in their head that they were looking for, but you are somebody else's voice and they're looking for you. So keep auditioning. So until then, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully I'll be back to normal by then, and have a fabulous week, everybody.